Hey, the Ruler's Zemo73 here, and today we're looking at Ulga and his army of replicants. Let's go ahead and jump right in. This session brought to you by Odyssey Games for pre-orders and sealed product, TCG Prime for tons of singles and supplies, Cardo Doko for international rulers looking for products, and fowlibrary.com for articles and wonderful deck lists, as well as our guest lecturer members King Pearlshine, Vite Ramen, Mognite, and Darren Noblock. Class is in session. Before we get started, just want to send you a quick reminder about the April 1st Discord Ruler School exhibition we have going on. You can check a link in the description to get signed up and see all the details, and try to fight for one of your chances to get one of these 8 never going to be printed again Moon Children Ruler playmats. So go ahead and check that out. It's a nice little fundraiser for FowFest 3 coming up later this year, and we hope to see you there. But yes, here is Ulga Replicants. So this is a little bit updated from the last time we've put it on the channel, just from a couple updates of things that we think could be better, or just kind of general things, but this is still very much a V1.5 version of Ulga. There's a lot of flexibility that you get with Ulga in terms of, especially with some of his cards and kind of some shenanigans you can do to be able to buy back sort of progression in a multitude of ways. So we're using Ulga, and then Moon Children wise, we're using Child of Eclipse, obviously, so we can cancel God's Arts right out the gate, and Child of Famine, just to be able to save our own resonators, which is very, very helpful. And then obviously we get to start with Magog at the beginning of the game, and then usually in the side deck we're just playing one each of Replicant Imul and Replicant Scarlet, just so we always have access to them, and then you don't really need more copies than that in the sideboard, and then you really only need like 1 copy of Imul in the main board, because if Sherry's going to search for them and you don't have any left, you can use her 0-cost ability to just tuck the one from the graveyard back into the deck and grab it back that way. So that's just some notes in terms of we're playing a lot more in the initial build, and we've kind of trimmed it down to make room for other stuff. Obviously, this is a deck that is kind of baseline Ulga, because we're playing like the Stone of Progress, which I really don't think you need to play in terms of competitive Ulga. It feels very much like a win more card, but if you're just trying to see what Ulga is about, kind of really play into his strategy, we're going to play Magic Stone of Progress. It also works really well with Replicant Imul. It's also one of the reasons why we're even considering Magic Stone of the Eclipse to kind of maybe double trigger Imul, because this will count as a sun protection, and then you kind of have like this way to instant speed get another sun protection stone to trigger Imul maybe on your opponent's turn, which can be pretty cool and can really disrupt your opponent's plays. So going into the main deck, we're obviously playing 4 copies of Sword of Progression. This card got nerf buffed, but the buff is significantly better than the nerf in the fact that you now no longer, because of the errata, you no longer have to do this in like sequential order. You still have to cast it 4 times total to be able to get to contract, but all the times leading up to that like just get generally better, and you don't have to do all of the things. So like the first time now can be draw a card, the second time can be draw a card or draw a card and cancel, or just cancel. The third time can be draw a card or cancel or bounce, or draw and bounce, or draw and cancel, or just draw, or just bounce, or cancel and bounce. Like you have a lot more flexibility now because you don't have to choose things sequentially. It makes the card a lot better, and it's also one of the reasons why the card has started to see play outside of Ulga as well. We're also playing a single copy of Sword of Regression, just because we have room for it in the deck since we cut some Imuls, and you can just get it sometimes off of Little Maria because she bypasses your timing. So if you have a way to instant speed search and you have Little Maria on field, you can use Sword of Regression during the end of your opponent's turn and just tap on all their stones. It's very neat. It's a very neat way to just kind of say like, oops, sorry, and lock your opponent out, especially if you're going for a contract turn. We're playing 2 copies of Descent of Ulga, mainly because of the fact that we can turn our Magogs into spot removal, which I think is very, very fun. Obviously, we're playing 4 copies of Replicant Scheherazade, just an absolute unit of a card for messing with your opponent's graveyards, as well as recycling your own cards. We are now up to 4 copies of Generate Replicant, particularly because we want more instant speed ways to make use of Little Maria as well. And we're also playing Mamu, which we were not playing before, mainly because this can help buy back. It's a decent body, but at instant speed, it can help us buy back Sword of Progressions from the graveyard. So that's why that's found its way in there. We're playing 3 copies of Magog in the main board because I just do not want to like have my contract be stopped. And we're playing 3 copies of End of Book because I think this card is just also just really, really great. It's another fantastic way to be able to buy back your Sword of Progressions. And the other nice thing that's about it is like you can if you have a little Maria on field and called End of the Book, like when you cast Replicant Scheherazade and do her search, you then just automatically have the ability to do End of Book to rebuy back a sort of progression. So like Scheherazade gets you like double value at that point, which is great. We're playing heroes instead of villains, so we are playing copies of Fewthsing because we're playing enough editions that it kind of is like enough. It's also just another body. We're also playing Persephone's to be able to, because we're not playing Memory of Worlds in this deck. 3 copies of Melfi. I think you can cut this probably, but it is nice to be able to have that color splash if you need to, especially if you're not seeing your blue for like spinning Aqua Soul is a great way to buy back sort of progressions. And then we're playing copies of Kiloa for some addition hate and automatic ability canceling because we're not playing Lorites, because we're playing Persephone's. So stone base wise, you can see the stone base down there. I think it can be shifted pretty dramatically based on what you're going for. We do play the 1 Darkness Moon fragment and the 1 Wanderer Moon, just so I always have access to 1 Darkness or 1 White Will for Imul's in the late game without having to worry about triggering her. So that is the deck. Again, very much a version 1, version 1.5. I think Ulga has a lot of really cool things that he can do. I think there's a lot of flexibility to him. I think there's a lot of space to get creative and successful with him. I mean, he did top 8 already, the first GP of the format. So definitely got some competitive elements there that he can really make use of. But if you're just looking to say like, hey, I want to try Ulga out at baseline, this is a good place to start. So let me know how you guys have been playing Ulga in the comment sections down below. You can find a link to this deck list on Force of Wind in the description below. And until next time, this is DMO73 saying class dismissed.